What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about how long it can take to improve your posture, and really just from my own experience, how long it took me to improve my own posture. So we're gonna jump right into it. Back in 2017, I moved to Seattle, and I really wanted to create a unconscious change in my posture. And by unconscious, I mean I wanted my posture to look nice and aesthetic without me having to think about pulling my shoulders back, stay up nice and tall, suck my gut in. I just wanted all of that to happen, on its own. So I set that goal and I went after it. I started to learn from some PRI people. I went to Functional Patterns headquarters. I worked with some of their trainers. I did all kinds of different things to try to improve my posture. And really, what ended up sticking was Postural Restoration Institute's exercises. So I worked with a trainer named Joe, and he started to teach me the proper ways to utilize PRI exercises. And really, in doing them, and as well as some strength training that I had me do, I saw very, very, very quick results in improving my posture. The main postural deficits I was dealing with was my right shoulder being lower. That still happens from time to time, but it used to literally, like, I would walk around and that would happen, and all of my pressing movements, that would happen. I've made many videos on that. I just look in my videos, you'll find like 2 or 3 of them. And then the other thing I was dealing with was anterior tilt and some sway back type posture. So he had me do 3 specific exercises. One of them was the 90-90 hip lift. Another was a squat exercise, like a squatting bar reach is what I believe it was called. And then the other one was a lat hang exercise. And I did those for a month straight, literally every day at a minimum 4 times a week. I would come home from work and from my physical therapy program at school, and I would literally spend 20, 30 minutes doing those 3 sets of 5 breaths. And, I didn't have high hopes, but what ended up happening is I did like some before and after photos with him. And literally within 4 weeks, I saw massive changes in my posture from how my stomach would kind of push out just in like a standing posture. That was a lot more firm. My shoulders were in a better placement, and I wasn't leaning as far forward with my posture. And again, all these things were unconscious. I wasn't trying to maintain this and hold that. So really, to answer this question, how long can it take? Well, for me, it was 4 weeks. But that said, I had to go through, honestly, like from 2011 up to 2017, 2018, that's how long it took me to find someone that actually knew what the hell they were talking about. So that's kind of the thing that I guess I wanted to talk about, is like, you have to find someone who knows what they're talking about, who is looking at this through this lens of like, well, let's create an unconscious change in our posture. I can just improve my posture by pulling my shoulders back really quick. But again, I have to think about that all the freaking time. And that's a pain in the butt, in my opinion. So this is a plug for myself and sort of what I do. I've now dedicated myself to be that guy, right? To find ways to make improvements for people's postures. And in doing that, now what I see on a client by client basis, people that are able to improve their posture unconsciously, is anywhere from that, sometimes 2 weeks I've seen, depending on how often they do these types of exercises, like what I showed you, all the way up to sometimes longer. It's really dependent, but you can have 2 weeks is kind of like where we start to see some improvements. And then all the way up to 8 weeks is typically what I see for people having that unconscious change in their postural presentation. A lot of these, and just in a general, time frame, it's like 2 weeks. We'll also see improvements in people's pain symptoms. And then along with those pain symptoms, we're seeing improvements in ranges of motion. So their shoulders are moving better, their hips are starting to move better. And that's becoming a default around, the 3 to 6 week mark. They're not having to do the exercises to improve their mobility anymore. They can jump up out of bed and they own that range of motion. They're not having to do things to re-up that mobility. And then once the body starts to adapt to that new mobility and the changes that you're getting, that's where we see the changes in the posture. Your body starts to find a new equilibrium or balance of sorts to start to take advantage of your new joint mobility and the freedom that you have, right? So that's really what we're looking at. So to answer the question, anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks. If you have someone that knows what the hell they're talking about, you can see some of these postural changes, which is actually a pretty incredibly, short time frame. I hope this video helps. It kind of creates a time frame for what to look for when you're trying to improve your posture. Definitely try out these exercises, right? I think these are really good. I'm going to put a little loop here of the 3 exercises that I did and that improved my posture. So that way, maybe you can try them out. You can see if they help you. That said, an assessment is always needed to know exactly what is right for you and your body. These exercises work for me, doesn't mean they're going to work for you. So try them out. They're probably not going to hurt you. If anything, they're a fun thing to experiment with. But that said, thank you for watching the video, and I will see you all in the next one.
This is the hook lying low reach. We'll be using this exercise to loosen up your back as well as your shoulder blades and just get some good hip mobility and shoulder mobility going. So you're going to use a couple pieces of equipment to set this up. Here I'm using 2 foam rollers, a yoga block, and then a t-shirt or a towel roll underneath my low back. You could replace one of these foam rollers, specifically the one underneath my head, with an actual pillow. I'm just using what I have here. So you'll set everything up here, put the foam roller underneath your feet. You're going to press down on it with the middle of each foot. You're also going to have that towel underneath the low back or where your lumbar spine naturally wants to curve up. Pillow underneath the head, and then a yoga block, a ball, or even another foam roller between your knees. Now we use all of this stuff, these constraints, to set us up for success. You may be tempted to not utilize all this equipment. I highly suggest that you do because it will make this exercise so much easier. So now that you have everything set up for yourself, you're then going to, again, press your feet or the arches of your feet down into the foam roller. In doing so, you should feel your hamstrings start to work. Maintain that tension as you then start to squeeze the block between your knees. You'll feel a little bit of tension between your inner thighs now. So hamstrings, inner thighs are on. Make sure that your pelvis is in a neutral position. As you can see here on the elastic of my shorts, it's nice and vertical. That means I have a neutral spine or a neutral pelvis. And then once I have that set up, I'm going to reach both of my hands up my thighs. I like to keep my hands in contact with my thighs. I keep my thumbs turned out so that way I'm in a supinated grip. Once I have this position, I have everything locked in: hamstrings, inner thighs, pelvis in a neutral position, a scapular protraction or my hands reaching up my thighs toward my kneecaps. I'm then going to complete my breathing. That breathing will consist of a full exhalation, all the air out of your system. Feel some lower abdominals turn on. Hold your breath at the end of that exhale for 5 seconds, maintaining that abdominal tension. And then think about breathing in through the nose and feel that expansion into your back as you breathe in. So specifically between the shoulder blades into the low back. What you do not want to do is inhale and let your shoulders shrug up toward your ears, or breathe into your belly with this exercise. Once you have that breathing down, that's 1 cycle, then complete another rep. Full exhalation, pause, slow silent inhale into your back, and then just complete that for 3 sets of 5 breaths or whatever the recommended reps are. This is the quadruped on elbows, inverted breathing. We'll be using this to get some internal rotation of the upper body and hips, as well as just some systemic mobility. So you're going to set up in all fours. You can use a foam roller, a yoga block, some sort of ball in between the knees if you would like, as this can add a nice bit of adduction or inner thigh activation. Once you're in this position, make sure you got your knees directly underneath the hips, the elbows directly underneath the shoulders, and then you want to go into a slight bit of protraction at the shoulders. You can either have your palms down on the floor or facing up toward the ceiling. I personally like to do hands down, and that is the goal for this exercise. But if you're getting a ton of upper trap tension, so feeling your neck working a ton, I definitely recommend turning your palms up to the ceiling or supinating, and that should help you out. Once you're in this position, all you're going to do is exhale everything out, empty the tank, squeeze the foam roller between the knees slightly, hold your breath for 3 to 5 seconds, and then slow, gentle inhale, holding any abdominal tension you might have gained. No, you're not flexing or crunching your abs. You're simply just getting expansion through the entire rib cage. Things to watch out for in this position are really rounding your upper back or shrugging your shoulders up toward your ears. If you find yourself doing that, take a deep breath and relax a little bit. Think pull your shoulders up toward your ears and then pull them down toward the hips and then protract. And 9 times out of 10, that'll help you from shrugging the shoulders and feeling those upper traps. So do this for the recommended reps and relax. This is the wall supported reach breathing exercise. We'll be using this to loosen up your back and your shoulder blades, as well as get you out of a potential anterior tilt. So you're going to take a foam roller, a yoga block, maybe a ball, place it between the knees. Then you're going to squat down to about a 45-degree angle and reach your arms forward. When you're in this position, you're thinking about flattening your low back to the wall, but not so much that you're squeezing your six pack. You want to keep the abs nice and relaxed, but feel that you have a neutral pelvis. So it's nice and flat. And really that reaching forward should assist with this process. Keep all the weight in the heel of the foot. Give that foam roller a squeeze between the knees. All you're going to do is maintain this positioning as you then exhale all the air out through your mouth, empty the tank. Feel your lower abdominals do some work. Maintain that abdominal tension as you pause for about 5 seconds at the end of the exhale. Then slowly inhale through the nose and think about breathing into your back and into your rib cage. Do not let that pressure go out into the belly. So then you'll repeat this process for the recommended reps or breaths. Again, just focusing on keeping your stomach working, but not flexed with the six pack and breathing into your back.